Welcome back, guys, to WCS Premier League round of 32. We promise we'll get our next match of ShoWTime versus iGiA underway as soon as possible. But in the meantime, we do have a special guest here on the couch with us, and it is Evil Genius's Huck. So, Huck, how are you doing today?
Good, I guess. I feel a little tired, but other than that, good.
We've had a crazy day so far with the victory of Maro over Hydra 2-1. A lot of people were shocked with this result. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think Hydra, for everybody, was the strong favorite from this group. It's hard to say. I feel like Hydra didn't play up to his maximum capacity, but at the same time, Maro played pretty well. They both looked a little nervous. I think, as the case for most players throughout the day, as they continue to play, they'll play better and better.
Well, obviously, this is a big weekend for you. You're playing tomorrow in Group H. What do you think of the players in your group, and what has your preparation been like?
To be honest, I only played ladder. I didn't play any specific matches. I didn't have that much time to practice, but in general, I feel pretty good. I know Wellmu and iGiA traveled a long way, so I assume they're more jet lagged than I am, only traveling from the US East Coast. I think I have a pretty good shot.
Well, you have a lot of Protoss in your group, as well as one other race. In terms of that, did that make preparation a little bit easier since you didn't have to worry about all three races, or what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, in general, I played only ladder, so it wasn't like I did any specific practice, but I don't know, PvP is kind of chancy. There's a lot of small little build order advantages and disadvantages you can have, so it's really hard to practice for anyways. Probably why I didn't really do any specific practice. And then other than that, my PvT is okay. I don't know, didn't feel necessary to do anything specific.
Well, when I've spoken to you before, when the groups were released, you seem pretty happy about it. Is there a particular player in your group that you feel is a player that you'll have to watch out for particularly, or do you kind of feel that all the other players in your group are pretty much on the same level?
I would say Wellmu's probably the strongest player in my group. I think a lot of people consider Mixed. It's more up to the condition of the day than their overall skill, I feel. Wellmu's pretty bad with travel, I think, and he's more of a fragile boy, I guess you could say. He's had issues traveling in the past, and I don't think he's had to travel to the US too often, so it's more of what their condition will be in the day. I know iGiA is really tired. He traveled from Australia, so I'm probably in the best physical condition, and then probably the favorite in the group anyway, so I think with those two factors combined, it'll be okay.
Well, last but not least, Huck, I was out in the audience speaking with some people out there, and one of the fans, John, mentioned that he's here specifically to cheer for you. So I'm sure there's a lot of fans out there that are watching. Do you have any words for them? Which
one is John in the crowd?
He's the gentleman in the gray shirt.
Oh, hey, John. Thanks for cheering for me, man. I appreciate it. Big heart. Other than that, I don't know. I really love my fans, so thank you for cheering for me. I mean, I'm one of the oldest pro gamers now, and I've been playing for a really long time, so of course I appreciate it, despite, you know, the ups and downs over the years. It's been a good ride, and I'm gonna keep driving, and hopefully I do better this season.
All right, well, thank you very much, Huck. Best of luck tomorrow. It looks like hopefully we'll have this match ready to go for you guys. So, Rotterdam and Thanius, over to you.
Thank you very much, Sue, and thank you very much, Huck, for keeping us company while we are waiting for both players to be ready. Of course, we don't want to force the players to start the series as soon as possible. We want to make sure that all the settings are correct, Nate. It's a huge series for both of them. Both came across the, I want to say Atlantic, but that's not correct. One came over the Pacific, the other one came over the Atlantic. But
they both came from very far away.
Yeah, exactly. They both traveled land and sea to get over here. And now we want to make sure that their settings are absolutely the same as they would be at home, so we can see the best possible StarCraft between these two awesome players.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. The vetoes have been completed. We are now in the phase of picking maps, Roddy. Map number 1, we're going to have Catalina.
Okay.
So, at least it looks like. Map number 2 is about to be picked. It's all happening right in front of our eyes. But I think actually I is saying, okay, so he actually vetoed Catalina, so he's going to pick a different map number 1.
He vetoed like 3 maps. It's like, no, that's not how this works.
I was just like looking at it. It was like map 1, Catalina. Then I looked up at the vetoes, like final veto, he said Catalina. I was like, oh, okay. So
that's actually already a little bit surprising to see.
So we'll just look at the vetoes as the maps get picked. Yeah.
But yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, sorry, they got rid of Secret Springs. Inferno Pools was vetoed. Expedition Lost and Catalina were vetoed. So that means we have Overgrowth, Deadwing, and the last map escapes my mind.
I miss you. Let me just take a look. Bonnie Research, probably.
Yeah, Bonnie Research Station.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is not a very shocking map pool, to say the least. That is actually the exact same map pool as we saw in our previous series, and that is a map pool that I think we are going. No, that's not true.
No, we had Overgrowth got vetoed in the last one.
So one map was different.
The first return of Overgrowth.
The first map will be different, but other than that, map number 2 and 3 are the same. I think this is a very standard map pool, and this is the map pool that we are going to see. Did we see a WCS game being played on Secret Spring yet, Nate?
I actually don't think so.
Me neither. I wonder who's going to be that guy that really wants to play on Secret Spring.
I don't veto it on ladder, and you just get the weirdest games ever, man.
You know what my strategy would be, Nate? If I would somehow be good enough to ever make it into WCS, I would just never veto Secret Spring. I'd just be like, ha, you guys are going to veto it anyway.
Well, that's why you veto Overgrowth. I think that's why you veto, like, Maro vetoes it, because that's, like, the most comfortable map for most players.
So we were correct, by the way. iGiA has defeated XY 3-2 in his Challenger match. He's a student at the Hongzhou University of Science and Technology.
Apparently, it's one of the higher-rated ones in China. So where that English comes from.
No, he's a really chill guy to talk to. I was talking with him a little bit, and apparently grew up in Wuhan, which is a very hot city. So he's used to our climate, but it's not even that hot right now over here in Southern California.
It's pretty good in Southern California. ShoWTime, of course, 4th time playing in WCS Premier, defeated Lilbo, also known as one of the foreign Protoss hopes. And, of course, there's a 2-time EPS champion.
That is pretty much all you have to know about this guy.
Rotterdam, is anybody else in this group an EPS champion?
No.
I think that says enough.
Yeah, why did we even say that Hydra was the favorite? Like, if Hydra truly wants to be the favorite of this group, in my opinion, he has to move to Germany and at least win 3 EPSs.
At least 3.
Yeah.
And even then, he's still behind Haswap, so he's got a long way to go.
Well, I don't think anybody's ever going to catch up to Haswap unless we're going to release Warcraft 4. But then Haswap will probably come back and win 3 more EPS titles. This is unfair, Nate. Haswap will forever be the biggest legend that German esports has ever seen.
Yeah. So we're just getting things set up. The first map for the series is, in fact, going to be Deadwing. And the second map will be Overgrowth. So we're going to go Deadwing, Overgrowth, and then Bonnie Research Station. So should be pretty regular sort of set of maps. Bonnie Research Station, I guess, is the newest of these maps. Both Deadwing and Overgrowth were in the map pool last season. Yeah. Deadwing being the bigger one.
I personally don't mind Deadwing that much against Zerg. Of course, you can say, you know, it's if you spawn vertical, it's a pretty good swarm host map, but I really don't think that this is going to be a swarm host map. I don't think that iGiA is a swarm host player. Mutalisk are always a little bit scary on this map, but then I also feel that if you are a Protoss player and you're on 3 bases and you don't exactly know what you're playing against, then you should just throw down Stargates, because most likely you'll be playing against Mutalisk by then. You know, any Protoss that's on 3 bases and has a very easy to take 4th base, you shouldn't really struggle all that much against Mutalisk. And I say that while I do struggle, but you know, I know that I'm no ShoWTime Nate. I know I'm no Lilbo.
I've tried to play Protoss, okay? I've tried to play versus those Mutalisks. The struggle is real. I know, Roddy.
But I think these guys, you know, all these Protoss players, they're so good. They know how to deal with it. If they have the money to deal with it, then they know how to deal with it. Yeah. So I kind of like this map for ShoWTime, and I think that he's going to have a pretty solid performance over here in game number 1. The only thing he has to make sure of is just don't go overly greedy. You know, don't try to go up to 3 bases of, you know, 3 gateways at best, and without actually scouting where the units are of your opponent and stuff.
Yeah, I think should be an interesting series, to say the least. I'm mostly excited to see what kind of style iGiA brings to the table, because we really haven't seen him play before, not too much. And as you stay up for the occasional Chinese tournament that does get broadcasted, very few of them even on Twitch. So this should be an interesting experience for all involved as we get ready to kick things off. And looks like players are just about ready to get this game underway, Kev.
Yep, we apologize that it took a little longer than expected, but once more we want to make sure that both players were extremely comfortable. And I think especially iGiA, I think he still plays with a 4-3 resolution, Nate. Now this is something that was very common.
So he was like, it's like, I need to play with a monitor that I need to set the settings so that it looks like an older monitor.
No, for the longest amount of time, I also played StarCraft in 4-3, and you know, because
Axelov used to do that too at live events.
Because I am a subborn guy, and everything that's new at first, I hate it. You know, it's like new game, I hate it.
Widescreen, what is this?
Widescreen, that's so silly. No, like I played Warcraft of 4-3. I want to play StarCraft of 4-3, and then there's like this one guy that eventually convinces me. He's like, just try it, man. Just try it for 1 week. This guy was the Muslim actually in my life. He's like, just play with a widescreen for 1 week, and then I did, and I was like, oh my god, mate.
I could never go back.
I was making this game so much harder on myself than it had to be.
That's how you know the age difference between us, Kev, because I don't think I ever had. I think I was ever forced to play on a 4-3 screen before.
Really?
Except for Nintendo 64.
No, man. 4-3 all the way. Those were the days. Anyways, we are finally loaded in to the second series of the day. Over here in the left top side of that wing, representing Invictus Gaming, it is iA.
And his opponent in the southwest position, the German Protoss player, he is ShoWTime.
Very cool to see him representing Alternate Attacks, and that is a team that has a wide history when it comes to esports as well, and of course especially real-time strategy games. They had a very prominent Warcraft III division for a while. In the start of StarCraft II, I felt they had a much bigger impact in the German scene than they currently have, but it's good to see them still, you know, supporting a strong player like ShoWTime. Be like, all right, if we can have someone on our roster, then let's just go ahead and do it. I'm pretty damn sure that it's a good deal for ShoWTime, and you know, it excites me that
he's repping Germany, man, all the way out here in Southern California. And going by your confidence and the confidence of many other players that I've heard speaking about ShoWTime, he has a very good chance now to get out of this group. It's weird. It's like man, Maro makes the greatest upset, but like this is actually a really good thing for the other two players because he's still, I think, much more beatable than Hydra is for either ShoWTime or IA.
Yep. Just to go over this upset that we just saw one more time. Now, I mentioned it multiple times throughout the series that I've been trying to look for a series where Hydra lost against a non-Korean, you know, best of 3 or more, and I couldn't find it. Turned out that Hydra has won over 60 best of 3s or best of 5s against non-Koreans before he just lost against Moro. That just shows how big of an upset that was. We were not trying to tell you guys the story.
That was his first ever loss in a more than best of 1 to a non-Korean player.
This was not us, you know, trying to tell you guys like it's a really big upset when it wasn't that big of an upset. Like no,
it was the only upset actually.
He won over 60 series, which is just insane. And once again, that makes this best of 3, this particular best of 3, so much more exciting.
Nice little probe delay on the hatchery being planted for ShoWTime. Yeah. He's actually got his Nexus upcoming quite a bit faster, even with this forge. So
yeah, very passive opening over here by ShoWTime, though. You know, with the forge, or not passive. What I'm trying to say is very safe. You know, going for the forge.
He won't have warp gate fast enough to do a lot, so he's just going to sit back, probably chrono probes out, and maybe make a push later on based on upgrades finishing.
Oh wow. He gets the cannon as well, just to make sure he doesn't have to worry about the Link squeezing by. You know, normally you see Protoss players getting the gateway before the cannon, sometimes even the cannon before the forge, but ShoWTime is opening up this very safely. Look at this, he's even bringing the probe, so you can warp in a pylon, or just put it on hold position. You know, one of the two will do, to make sure that these slow Links won't run by the cannon. It wouldn't be the end of the world, but
it's nice to have the cannon there because it allows you to write off a lot of potential weird things that a Zerg could do to you at the start of the game.
And you know, if you have 2 or 3 slow Links early on in your base, it's so frustrating. You have to pull workers over and over again.
Because when I tried playing Protoss, the first thing I did was like, well, you know, some of these Protosses get away with just, they don't even build a forge. So, and then 4 Lings get by, you're like, wow, this is really, really frustrating.
Yep.
It slows you down so much when you have to pull probes and all that not fun stuff, Kev. Very quick +1 attack.
Yeah.
He's going to have +1 before he has Warp Gate.
Yeah, and that is, of course, you know, the upside of having such a quick forge. You can start your upgrades a lot quicker. I'm curious to see what ShoWTime is going to do with this. Maybe he's just going to put on a little bit of zealot pressure, try to force out some units while going up to 3 bases behind this, or just wants to get +2 Blink Stalkers as soon as possible while going up to 3 bases. Like, I really don't see a use for ShoWTime here, or I don't see a need or an urge, is what I'm trying to say, for him to be crazy aggressive and trying to, you know, like go on some crazy 8-gate +1 or 7-gate +2 Blink Stalker 2-base all-in against the IA. I think ShoWTime should believe in himself over here and just scout and sing this one out. Just stay passive, as Protoss players often are in this matchup. Defend, don't go crazy all-in, and I think he will be fine in this series.
Yeah, especially if IA plays close to any of the other Chinese Zergs that we've seen, and it looks like he's going to ask for a pause. So hopefully everything is all right. Don't want to talk too much into the details of the game if headsets are removed by the players. But all in all, pretty interesting day so far. I guess it goes without saying.
And we can talk a little bit about tomorrow, Nate, since we can't really talk about today right now, if in case the headsets do go off of these two players. We can talk about tomorrow, which is going to be the final group of the round of 32. After tomorrow, Nate, we know all 16 players that will make it to the offline event.
And any of you guys that are tuning in today that were not aware, it was actually announced today, the venue and the date for the Season 1 finalists, man.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
Where is it, Nate?
It's actually it's like this convention thing I've only ever heard the name of once. It's going to be in France, I think April 3rd and 4th.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Vive la France.
I've never been to France before.
Well, I can guarantee you that most French people are way nicer than thought.
I was gonna say I'm not sure it would be possible for it to be worse than that. So Blink starts up for ShoWTime as he starts to move out a few stalkers. He can clear out these lings that are sitting in front of his base. Gas is starting to get taken as as the lair starts up for IA.
Okay, so this is a build, Nate, that I think CJ Hero did for a while, and I've heard Hawk speak about this build, where he just did not understand why he has so much success with this build, because this is just very old school. Let's make as many Blink stalkers as possible, get +1, and just try to win. And for some reason, CJ Hero was winning games with this in, you know, the GSLs.
Yeah, he won a lot of games with that build.
And, then like, I tried to do it, and then all my stalkers get surrounded early on, you know, before I even have Blink. It was just always a total disaster.
Like, who really makes builds like this work? Because I remember seeing in WCS last year,
I don't like this pylon placement, by the way.
40 Blink stalkers.
Yeah.
But
I don't like this pylon placement. He's going to be forced to cancel it.
It's a little bit vulnerable.
Yep. So from this point on, IA needs to produce nothing but units. It's going to be frustrating because there are, you know, cliffs and stalkers can go up and down. But these two spine crawlers, that's freaking brilliant by IA, because now ShoWTime can just like micro his units up and down without actually jumping into spine crawlers. And I don't like this for ShoWTime at all. This is not the playstyle that I expected of ShoWTime. We'll see how this one goes. Of course, you know, it's always a lot easier said than done, but I think the start of this defense is very good for IA.
Yeah, those spine crawlers are buying him a lot of time before he has to actually trade away any of his real units.
Can't lose the Mothership Core either, Nate.
Warping in there, yeah, those two queens, that's a very good point, Kevin.
And now there's creep.
Away.
Because there's creep tumors on the high ground, there's creep on the low ground.
Yeah.
And there is no detection of it.
This is a really sweet defense from IA. I am absolutely loving it. That Mothership Core getting weaker and weaker. Queen still shooting. It's got barely any health, but as soon as it can get vision of that high ground, the queens can just kill it.
Yep.
And then the push is pretty much done.
IA doesn't have to fight even over there. Like, he can just sit back. And I think ShoWTime is going to have to abandon this. He's going to have to take his third and fourth gas. He does have his third gas, actually. But he doesn't have his fourth gas. He's still going to try to hang in there a little bit longer. Okay, Time Warp goes down, gets a couple of roaches. We're forward Blink, gets more than just a couple of roaches, but we'll also end up losing a stalker or two.
Yeah, and when you're using Blink, it's all about retaining the number of stalkers that you have, since that third base economy will give your opponent more resources than you. That's why you need to trade very cost effectively with this style. He's starting to push up the ramp. The Mothership Core is still alive, pulling these queens back. The Blinks have been solid so far, but still losing a stalker here and there. Even some drones now getting ready to be pulled.
Wow, ShoWTime is actually hanging in there way longer than I thought. He's been doing such a phenomenal job in not losing that Mothership Core, because if he does, his army is going to derp over and over again because he doesn't have high ground vision. But ShoWTime with that second follow-up.
And he killed the spine crawler with his follow-up. Warpins, the drones are pulled down the ramp. IA bringing his roaches forward again. That Mothership Core ever baiting the queens out. And it looks like he's actually going to be able to do it with just these blue stalkers.
And this Mothership Core survives again. It's ridiculous. I think he is. And that was silly.
It has 4 hit points, Kevin.
It's 4 hit points like multiple times. I don't think that IA can do this anymore now, as he lost too many drones.
Ouch!
Wow, and ShoWTime, by the time that it looked like his attack was not going to work anymore, suddenly everything swung. I don't think that IA had to send
that time warp on those roaches, like just catching all of them out away from the spine crawlers was huge.
No, that was huge, but IA didn't have to go there yet, Nate.
Yeah, he didn't really need to leave his base.
He was up a base. He was up 12 to 14 workers. He had a lot of free supply. He was on like 100 to 166. Like, he did not have to go down there. It's just a pylon, you know. Let it sit there. This is
just a pylon.
And this Mothership Core is a true hero of war, by the way. Like, this Mothership Core has seen things, Nate.
Terrible, terrible things.
Yes, but he survived. He lived to tell the tale. And this is really when the game swung. That time warp blinking forward and like reducing the roach count, and then also ShoWTime, just no time to
look
waste.
how weak so many of these stalkers are. Like how many of them are at red health or missing their shields. Like he did a really good job controlling his blinks, which is pretty much what he needed to do after being pushed away at first.
Yep, and then he just went all out immediately, and he's like, okay, this is my moment, you know, my stalking count is high enough. So ShoWTime making it work with a very aggressive build in game number 1 here. I wonder if iGiA would have taken that hatchery on the low ground, Nate, if ShoWTime would have done the same thing. Did ShoWTime even see that hatchery go down there? Because a lot of Zerg players do take that third base on the low ground.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure. That's a tricky position. The whole of it was pretty awkward because it looked like he was just going to defend it miraculously, and then it, as you said, spiraled out of control very quickly.
Yeah, I think iGiA did almost everything right at first, you know, with the queens focusing the mothership core, having the creep tumors there, having the spine crawlers. I really like the setup of his defense, and I think he pretty much defended it up to the point where he's like, there's a pylon, you know, let's get it. And
Get
it's
the
like,
pylon!
no, it was a bait. You're not out of the woods yet. You have to know one thing about Protoss all-ins, Nate. They never stop.
I mean, I've learned that one the hard way.
We are loaded into game number 2 that is going to be played on Overgrowth. We are looking at the base of our red Protoss player representing Attacks. It is ShoWTime. Of course, alternate Attacks, not just Attacks.
Yeah, currently up 1-0 against our blue Chinese Zerg player representing Invictus Gaming. He is iGiA.
Overgrowth, a very standard map in PvZ, Nate. I think there's not a whole lot you can do on this matchup that is going to be very surprising. Like what we just saw on Deathwing, that is still, I wouldn't say that it's new, but it's not something I've seen very often.
It's like the strategy that he chose also relied on being able to use that position next to the cliff where he wouldn't be hittable basically by any Zerglings, or they'd have to come down the ramp and expose themselves. And you could say to a degree that helped the strategy work, but it'd be a bit more tricky to pull off on this map if you were to try something similar.
I wouldn't even say to a degree, Nate. I think you're spot on. That definitely makes it work. It makes it a lot harder for Zerg units to get the engagement that they're looking for. And especially once the Stalker would blink backwards from the front lines, it's pretty much untouchable because there are no units that will get there ever, because they have to swing all the way around on the low ground. That is just not going to happen. I'd be very, very, very surprised if ShoWTime would go for the same build in game number 2. In general, I think that is a build that you just bust out once. He's going to try to sell the idea over here that he's going for a cannon rush, which is cool because he did open up with a forge on Deathwing. So this is not something that you can just laugh at if you're iGiA, and I definitely think he's a little bit worried, Nate. He's going to send drone number 3 down.
Immediately sending 2 drones down as the probe came. Pretty bold, and then that third one coming pretty quickly. Now it's like, okay, for the cost of 25 minerals and 75 of those in limbo for a little bit, he gets 3 drones not mining for a little bit. That's
which is massive when somebody only has like 12, 13 drones mining on the mineral patch. Like 3 drones not mining when you have 65 drones on the map, that's not a very big deal. 3 drones not mining when you have 13 drones, that's a very big deal.
Yeah, so 20% of my economy is chasing a cannon rush that's not coming. And he gets away with just a regular gateway opening, no forge this time at all. So we can have a much faster follow-up push if you wanted to do. And I feel like a lot of the European Protoss is really like the 2-base, like 4 gateway pressure. Although now that I think about it, we even saw players like Puck and Huck use it quite a bit. So it just seems to be a very popular build among Protoss these days in general.
I love it too, Nate. You know it.
Oh yeah, well, you taught me things about Protoss I didn't know were possible.
I am a pioneer when it comes to being dirty. What can I say?
So iGiA is going to take his 3rd base now as the cybernetics score finishes up and ShoWTime's natural completes. I guess that's a big question, Kev. Where does he go from here?
Yeah, I think we could see a big tech building going down. Robotics facility is possible, but it could also be that he's saving up for a Stargate. He has quite a bit of gas saved up, so it's all possible. A couple of links are going to sneak in. If he can get like a probe kill or 2 even, 2 is very unlikely, but if he gets like 1 probe kill with this, that would already be very nice for these slow links. There's no mothership core just yet. And I feel that this is extra annoying because I feel that he already wanted to drop his tech building by now, and now he's just like, you know, I don't want to drop my tech building when I have Zerglings in my base, so I'm going to queue up a sentry instead. Yeah,
gotta wait for that to be out of your base. Don't want to make it too easy for the other guy to prepare. Yeah. Did not lose any probes though, so fancy little bit of footwork, gets the stalker out, cleans up the links, but now is the time. And it's a forge for ShoWTime on his main base ramp.
I feel that that's just the beginning though. He's still going to drop something else, Nate.
It's not over yet, Kev.
Could be a Stargate in the front. He's going to drop a force field. I think he wants to hide the forge at all costs. No, he doesn't.
He sees it, and he's still dancing around.
This is not nice for ShoWTime. ShoWTime definitely wants to do something else with his gas by now. He didn't start a mothership core yet. You know, he has 2 gateways, and he has that forge. Maybe he's just going to go 3 gateway plus 1 and up to 3 bases then, and he's going to make a bunch of sentries. Yeah, that's pretty much the feeling I get right now, Nate.
So, more passive play from ShoWTime on this map.
On the other side of the map, nothing has happened. Did he not even? Okay, he has 2 extractors mining, but those just finished up. So this was it was not a 3 hatch before pool, because he did open up with the pool. It was hatcheries into pool and then 1 more hatchery. But he stayed gasless for a very long amount of time, and he actually distracted his opponent for a while with these slow links on the other side of the map. So this is a very, very strong economic opening for our Chinese Zerg player IA. Of course, representing Invictus Gaming, and I always kind of like this. If I was a Zerg, Nate, and I see, you know, I get away with this amount of greed early on, I don't have to worry about any pressure coming my way, and Protoss is just going to try up to go to 3 bases. You can do 2 things. Either you can stop at the drone count that he's currently at, and make nothing but Zerglings and Roaches and try to break Protoss to their 3rd base, or you're like, alright, you take 3 bases quickly, I go up to 4 bases quickly, and I get an insane economy of like 78 drones. Because by the time that Protoss moves out with his army, you will be capable of dealing with any sort of Protoss move out.
Yeah. 3rd Nexus starting up for ShoWTime.
Yep.
You read him like a book, Ronnie.
What can I say, Nate? I don't read a whole lot, but when I do, it's Protoss.
I was gonna. For some reason, I thought the 3rd base wasn't your area of expertise when it came to PvZ.
That's true. Well, you know, I pick up a couple things down the road.
Here and there.
Yeah.
So Link Speed and Roach Speed are on the way for IA.
Man, this is actually kind of a fake 3rd base. This is the build that Alicia used multiple times in WCS America in the previous years. It's like, hey, you know, nothing to worry about. I'm going up to 3 bases. You go ahead and take 4 bases. But I really like this. Burrow is such a good upgrade now for IA. If IA is going to defend this, it's because of Burrow. Because there is no robotic facility on the map. There is no mobile detection on the map. This is a super all-in-ish build by ShoWTime. Yes, he has 3 Nexus, but his 3rd Nexus is as fake as... I don't know. Name something extremely fake, Nate.
I can't believe it's not butter.
No. What?
I
thought you were gonna make the joke about someone's passion or something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This build is this base is very fake. It will all come down to this hold right now. If IA holds, he's gonna be in a great position. He's playing as an 8-gate Protoss that doesn't have additional tech follow-up. Burrow is brilliant. Oh, the first force fields are not that good for ShoWTime.
Oh, he just wrecks all these sentries.
This is a disaster for ShoWTime.
They cover your eyes. This is Protoss destruction here in those force fields. Not ideal. The spines finish up, and as you said, Kev, Burrow was going to help him either way with this push, but now...
No, Burrow is a nightmare. Trust me. I want to see ShoWTime's reaction when he sees that Burrow has finished up. Because that is the moment where you just kind of shake your head as a Protoss.
He's already building probes again and getting the Twilight Council.
And when you know there is Burrow, it's like, well, okay, this party is definitely over. So far, phenomenal hold by IA, flawless game by IA. And I'm a little bit, I would almost say, disappointed to see ShoWTime play like this.
A very aggressive posture, but just not paying off, especially with the control. And no energy for a recall, so if he does get trapped out here, he's done. Yeah, there's that Burrow. I think as he said, ShoWtime's just like, we need to go home.
Yep, this is, I mean, that could have even been a lot worse. Imagine if he like really moves forward with the sentries and a couple of roaches were burrowed already. But just look at the army.
IA is still giving chase. He's going to have to burn more sentry energy, even losing another sentry in order to buy himself some time.
The only thing that makes me sad right now is that we don't see tunneling claws immediately after roach speed, because I really think this is a fantastic scenario for tunneling claws, because the robotics facility is so damn late, and you know, you can force field all you want, but if you just have gateway units, roaches will burrow and they will regenerate quicker than your armies do, than your units do damage. You can't kill burrowed roaches with just like sentries and stalkers. It takes forever.
No, he's going to retreat now to a photon cannon after losing another 2 sentries.
It's definitely smart that he has multiple cannons, but he's not out of the woods just yet. This is still going to be very frustrating for ShoWTime. These roaches are very beefy, very tanky in this phase in the game.
Yeah, force fields a few more roaches in onto that 3rd base, but even the ones blocked outside can still hit quite a few of these gateway units. The cannons are helping out a significant bit. He's got +2 and Blink on the way. He's starting to saturate that 3rd, but I mean, I don't think does he have enough to actually kill all these roaches? I don't think his army's capable of it.
With photon overcharge and these cannons, eventually he might be in. There we go. He might be able to hang in there, but just look, you know, do you believe in anything called roach, Nate? IA does with 17 more roaches on the way. You know, in your natural, roaches are dancing. That's what Tempo would say.
Yep. And he's going to focus fire down this natural expansion Nexus as he moves forward and grabs a few more sentries. GG is called. IA takes game number 2 against ShoWTime.
Well, you know, that was a pretty damn good game by IA. I think he did almost everything right. Getting Burrow really would have saved him, even if ShoWTime wouldn't have messed up that first set of force fields. That's, of course, you know, when you do a build like this, when you're going basically all in, you know, with gateway pressure, it all comes down to execution. You know, that's what all-ins do. You know, I attack you, and if I execute my build correctly, I can win. If your defense is perfect, then you probably win. And if the first 3 or 4 force fields just go, look at this, like, why? What did those force fields do, Nate? They didn't do anything.
No, I mean, if you're like a avant-garde artist, maybe it looked cool for a little bit, but that's about it.
Yeah, and then the follow-up, I think it's very smart that he picked up on the fact, it's like, hey, this wasn't just some gateway pressure. You actually never saturated that base. You don't even have an observer. You have nothing. Then I'm just going to make roaches, because roaches are going to be extremely good against the units that you're currently working with. And he did everything right. Strong game by a Chinese Zerg, and this is not the ShoWTime that I expected so far. Nate, it seems like he's in a hurry, maybe to play Moro, but he has to take his opponent very serious over here. And so far, you know, with the way that game number 1 and game number 2 have played out, I know ShoWTime won game number 1, but I actually like the way that IA was defending for a while. Going into the final game right now, that is going to be played on Vani Research Station. You know, if I would be allowed to change my prediction, I'm actually leaning more towards IA than I was leaning towards ShoWTime.
Yeah, that was a really well executed defense, and I still at some point want to see a setup where we get the actual passive game out of ShoWTime, because I still don't feel like we're gonna. I guess these maps are probably favoring the Swarm Host style, but I don't see it out of the Chinese players. So I'm wondering what happens if the game goes long.
They don't do it, Nate. Maybe by the time that Locust can fly. Haha. You saw what I did there?
Ha. Ha 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 ha.
That might happen one day.
We're loaded in. We're ready for game number 3 between these two guys in our second match of the day. You're watching WCS Premier League. In the bottom position of Vani Research Station, we have the red Protoss player. He is ShoWTime.
ShoWTime is going up against a Chinese Zerg that's representing Invictus Gaming. Give it up for IA.
So Kev, have you played a lot of games on Vani Research Station lately?
Yes, out of the 4 new maps that have been introduced to our Neo Ladder map pool season and WCS season, this is definitely my favorite. I think this is almost a favorite of everybody when it comes to the 4 new maps, you know? It's no secret that Secret Spring is not a very popular map. Inferno pools, you know, people have mixed opinions. Then you look at Vani Research Station and people are like, man, that's a pretty solid map.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's definitely not bad, you know? Like, I know that some of the Protoss players on the European server is like, you think it's alright? Have you ever played against Snoot on this map? It's like, no.
Well, it's like, well, no, the one blessing of being from NA is that you don't have to play versus Snoot.
Exactly. You know, so I don't play against Snoot. But other than that, I kind of like this map. And of course, you know, Expedition Lost is also a relatively fun map. I do think it's a little bit annoying because of the backdoor rocks. But other than that, it's alright. But I like Vani Research. I think this is an excellent map. I think it's an excellent addition to our current map pool.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Kev, on that one. We have a pro scout moving out for ShoWTime, who has this game opened up with a gateway. No gas, though, so we can still get a very quick Nexus behind this.
I have to add, by the way, that even if I was playing on the European server, I don't think I would run into Snoot a whole lot, Nate.
Fair enough. I don't
have the worst MMR in the world, but I also don't think it's that high.
One day, the dream.
Yeah.
So he heads over to the natural again. And is he going to try to sell something crazy? There's only 1 drone here this time, right? So can't force him to burn as much.
No. Very curious what we're going to see out of ShoWTime over here. It was a safe opening. It's not a super like late Nexus or something. This is still a 3-minute Nexus, so it's pretty damn quick. Yes, he got the gateway. That's just in case, you know, you had to worry about some crazy early pull. He didn't want to roll the dice all the way by going Nexus first into gate, or, you know, Nexus first, no scout. So it's a very conservative opening by ShoWTime, but still economic at the same time. And I hope that we're just going to see him play solid. I really like this map for Stargate play. I think this is an awesome Stargate map. A, because you can actually hide the Stargate in the main. It's kind of tricky for the Overlords to scout everything at first. And then B, this is just, you know, it's a large map, so it takes a while for units to make their way to the other side of the map. And if you have fast units like Phoenixes or even an Oracle, you can always keep track of where the Zerg army goes and stuff. Looking at it from the Protoss point of view, of course. And I think for a Zerg, this is relatively frustrating to deal with Phoenixes, because it's not that you can drop like 1 or 2 spores and you cover multiple areas. There's like many ways for Phoenixes to swing in and out and, you know, chip away at Overlords and stuff. So I think this is an awesome Stargate map, and I would not be sad to see ShoWTime throw down a Stargate.
Fair enough.
I'd actually be a little happy.
I've seen the power of the Oracle on this map in TVP, especially hiding behind that natural mineral line. There's so much airspace that you can tuck units away in. But I guess we'll see as the cybernetic score is done. He's going to open up with that Stalker once again. Doesn't ever seem to be in a rush to get that mothership core out.
Yeah. Or a tech building for that matter. You know, it definitely has not rushed up to either a Robo or a Stargate. I mean, you could say the Twilight on that wing was quick, but it wasn't even like super quick, because he got the Forge and
Relative
+1.
to the Forge timing,
Yeah.
it wasn't really that fast at all.
No, again, it's just the Fort over here for ShoWTime, so definitely seems to have a pretty distinctive playstyle over here in this matchup. Of course, you know, even though ShoWTime has been around for a while, you know, he's very successful in the European circuit when it comes to SC2 events. Nate and me, or Nate and I, we don't really have the opportunity to cast a whole lot of ShoWTime.
No.
Or watch him play in a whole lot of tournaments that we normally cast outside of WCS. So it's definitely a new experience for us. We know he's good, and we know that he gets a lot of love from the other Europeans. Like we mentioned before, all of his colleagues, especially the Protoss colleagues, always talk very highly about ShoWTime. And we are just here to enjoy the ride and see if he can make that impression on us as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool, one of the cooler parts of getting to do this. We get to see players like Maro and ShoWTime in person. Mothership core is out. That +1 attack is coming in. With some sentries in production, where does he go from here? This Overlord should be able to see this Forge, but there's nothing else yet to be seen. There's no other tech yet. He's very, you're right. He's very passive about the tech. He's just going to go straight to 3 bases again.
Yeah,
but this feel like this time it's going to actually be a 3rd base.
Yes.
He's not going to just go into some mega all-in.
But this is very quick though, Nate, because he's doing this of 1 gateway. You know, the only Protoss that I used to see this do in the old days was Mr. Wydra himself, the Papa Protoss. He did this for a while on maps like Daybreak and stuff. And this is quite a wide open area. I'm very curious to see what IA decides to do. He throws down the Roach Warren. Right now he's droning. I feel if he wants to break this, he has to make nothing but units from this point on, and even then it's not a guaranteed break. So I actually think he's going to take the opposite approach, and that is this time go up to 4 bases immediately and saturate that 4th base. He's probably a little bit paranoid after that last game. He's like, yeah, sure, for 3 bases. We saw that on the Overgrowth, you sneaky Protoss, so maybe he doesn't want to go all out economy just yet. But I think as soon as he's sure, he's going to go up to 4 actually.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. The Phoenix sees the lair on the way. No worries about any rushing up to any fast tech like Mutalisks or anything of that sort. And immediately sends another hallucinated Phoenix.
Yeah, it's going to be very important to do non-stop scouting, because ShoWTime knows that with this opening and with this build of him, he's going to give IA a lot of time to, you know, bank up resources and do whatever the hell he likes. And there's a good chance that IA will throw down both, you know, a Spire and an Infestation Pit, or an Infestation Pit and a Hydralisk Den, you know, just to make it a little bit more tricky. Okay, it seems to be Ling Hydra. Okay, there we go. Both the Infestation Pit and the Hydralisk Den, just to make it a little bit more difficult to figure out for ShoWTime what exactly he's playing against. Could be Ling Hydra into a couple of defensive Swarmos at first to defend against like a certain follow-up push or something. We'll see.
Yeah, we had a Zerg player put out a few Swarm hosts defensively and then immediately switch away, as I recall, in one of the previous groups, and we could see something similar. Shigwa did try that at some point, right?
I think you're correct.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to be a big commitment, but on this map, you know, you have your 3rd is very close to where your 4th and the entrance to your main base is, so you can zone away a lot. The Hydralisks, though, against gateway forces are generally pretty solid with a lot of Zergling support.
Definitely.
Stalkers are going to have a bit of a rough time.
It all comes down to execution once more. I like the idea from IA, but it will all come down to will he be able to somehow, you know, dance away, bait out some force fields and get the engagement that he's looking for. Will he be able to get nice and close to those sentries? Or if this fails, well, then suddenly ShoWTime is in a phenomenal position, because we're looking at 65 drones currently against 66 probes. So if Protoss, you know, defends right here, right now, without taking too much damage, and I like how he's getting a couple of additional cannons, Nate. I think that's very smart, so he doesn't have to worry about Lynx ravaging his mineral line and stuff. With Photon Overcharge, with force fields, he has quite a bit of force fields, but we shouldn't forget that he sent a lot of hallucinated Phoenixes across the map.
Ooh, these Lynx trying to run by. There is a Zealot. Should be on hold position, as long as he's doing his due diligence. Shouldn't be able to squeeze anything by.
You know, those bounces, man, sometimes they go on a break. People
5
snoop in the
minute,
club.
be the worst 5-minute break of your life, Kev.
Yes.
ShoWTime's getting some pylons position though, so he's ready to put on a bit of pressure himself. A lot of stalkers being worked in.
Blink has finished up. What I'm really curious about is that iGiA made a lot. He has 25 Hydras. Like, you really want to do something with that. You don't want to wait until your opponent gets Colossus when you're sitting on 25 Hydra list, Nate.
Now, those things die pretty fast to that area of effect damage, that's for sure. Warp Prism and +3 start up too, so ShoWTime's getting ready to split the attention of his opponent.
Man, ShoWTime really does not have a lot of energy on his sentries. I think he overestimates the amount of energy that he actually has.
He gets concaved by these Hydras, and that's going to make life very difficult for him.
Okay, that's good for. I think iGiA should pressure right here, right now, and like as hard.
It's so tricky though, because he never got the Hydralisk speed upgrade. So as soon as he steps off creep, those things are very easy to force field.
You make a very solid point over there. I don't think he's aware of that, Nate. I don't think that's on purpose.
Yeah, he's got very slow.
I think now
Hydras.
he's gonna know this. He's like, man, my Hydras are so slow.
So you guys get some new shoes. Come on, run a little faster. Spend some time in the gym.
It's like, are we playing? He's gonna pause the game. He's like, Wings of Liberty? It's like, no, you just didn't upgrade. Oh, okay, go. He's gonna go up to Hive now. Still no Hydra speed. Mate, you have like 30 Hydras.
Yeah, he's getting ready to move in.
Yeah, but the first Colossus, these Hydras are so slow. The first Colossus is about to pop. One Colossus changes this battle completely. Like I said, ShoWTime does not have as much force field energy as normally you would have, because he hallucinated so much. So he scouted phenomenally, but he doesn't have a whole lot of force fields to work with over here. But iGiA is just waiting this out, and ShoWTime is like, cool, man. Like, you know, I have a Colossus now. I'm going to have Thermal Lens
His
soon.
Warp Prism is also hitting at the same time in the natural expansion as he starts to take this fight.
Oh,
That
don't lose the Colossus.
does get very
Oh my
low.
God.
Only a single hit point left on that bad boy, while Zealots ravage the natural expansion of iGiA. And yeah, ShoWtime's just sitting back. He's like, yeah, I can buy time all day and just keep warping Zealots into your base.
You're sitting on 30 Hydro lists that do not have shoes. And I'm going to have a second Colossus soon. Thermal Lens is about to finish up. I'm going to have +3. I don't understand the way that iGiA has approached the last few minutes in this game.
Yeah, iGiA did manage to get the Warp Prism out of his base, but took a couple of hits here and there. 11 drones were picked off.
I'm having a giggle over here, mate, because like all I see is slow Hydras. Speed them all.
They are pretty slow.
Oh my god, and now like to complete the strengthening, we're gonna have a Templar Archives going down, so we could potentially have Storm and Colossus, but of course just feedback against the Vipers is already crucial.
You know, Roddy, at this point, it's just like, even if he started to bank enough resources and got all the tech for a switch, if he kills this Hydra army, he could just kill him before he has a chance to remax on anything.
Because we're looking at 41. We're looking at 41 Hydralisk. It's been a while since
Is this the new PvZ meta? Is this a thing, Kev?
I don't know. I don't know, Nate.
Massling Hydra.
iGiA throws out a Stargate. I think he's worried about the Muda switch potentially. He's like, you know.
I mean, only reason why this really just blows my mind is he still never got Hydras.
I know, but I mean, like, we have Storm being researched immediately, and I think normally you don't even get Storm like that quickly. Like, Storm is awesome always. Don't get me wrong. You know, Storm is always great. But
now
normally,
he starts Hydra speed, by the way. He just started it up.
I don't think there is a thing as the 16-minute make 41 Hydralisk and then get Hydralisk speed timing, Nate.
No.
I don't think that's a realistic build. We can check the Team Liquid strategy guide, though.
Maybe there's something there about it. The fourth base for iGiA is going to be killed. Keep in mind, he's not playing with swarm hosts. Like, if he loses his army, he's broke.
Okay, so the only thing we can say that he has going for himself now is that he's going to have 5 Vipers. He should be able to abduct the Colossus, but that doesn't change the fact that soon he's going to have to deal with Storm, too. Yeah,
but there's also Templar with the army as well that can feedback, right? So, there's a lot...
Are they? No.
Yeah, he's got Templar there.
In that army?
Yeah.
Okay, it's like 2.
I see, at least one
well,
or
he
two
can feedback
do a
all
lot.
of them, that's the point.
Yeah.
He's going into Ultras now. But
why are these Vipers so far away from the army is another good question.
I'm not sure.
They're just like chilling at the bottom of the map.
Imagine if they would have flown into a bunch of High Templars, that would have been really bad. Maybe he can abduct the Mothership Core, though. Then I feel like if iGiA wants to win this game, he doesn't have to just like lose his base and then like force that army to recall. No, he has to kill this army. Okay, well.
Now he gets away, and he basically just knocks it down.
ShoWTime is like, lol. What is this game? I'm maxed out on 2,800 minerals, 500 gas. Like, why is this Zerg not killing any of my stuff? He makes me look really bad. He makes me look like I have no macro, but I'm not losing any units.
It's like, well, why is the Protoss always banking so much money? It's like, well, it's because he's just not losing any.
Yeah.
Now he has a good number of Templars, 6 in total.
Oh, the second Spire is going to get... Oh, right, that's the first Spire actually, right? Look, I love how he's getting a fleet beacon as well. Like, he's very paranoid about this big Muda switch that's actually not coming. Because we have an Ultralisk Cavern going down as well, but... The thing is, though, like, I don't think that IA can kill this army, Nate. This is an army that has Storm, Colossus, +3 Blink Stalker.
And he just has Mass Hydrolink.
Yeah, yeah. And even if he has a couple of Ultras, these Ultras, they don't have impressive upgrades at all. They will be 1-1 Ultras, and I can confirm that 1-1 Ultras are not scary.
He even hallucinates some Colossi to help try to bait out the abducts of his opponent. And here he comes. IA is going to go for the big engagement, moving in from all sides.
Okay,
Time Warp on the south side. Feedbacks the Vipers before any abducts. And he's I think that's still pretty solid. Getting rid of the Vipers means he could actually push forward if he wanted to.
Yep, those were very juicy feedbacks. One shot at all these Vipers immediately. Didn't even lose that much. Like, the idea that was nice from IA. He had a good concave, but
didn't kill any Colossi.
No, he just didn't have the setup there to actually. He didn't have the army to actually fight that army. Like, you can run into Storm and 3 Colossus and Guardian Shield.
He's gonna finish 6 Ultras, but I don't know, Kev.
They don't have 6 upgrades. Like, Ultras are really good, but not with the upgrades they currently have. Like, Ultras would wreck this army if there would be a couple of Vipers with Blinding Cloud, and they would have the upgrades that you normally expect from a Zerg.
So he's decided to go for a Mass Hydra run-by, trying to force a base trade with these things. I don't know if that's what they're built for, but he's going to try.
+2 armor, Nate is probably not going to finish up, so that makes these Ultras even weaker than they already are.
Yep, DT's being warped in back home, it looks like, for ShoWTime to defend against this Hydralisk force, and the Overseer is not with the Hydra, so it's actually just going to be hacking and whacking and smashing through all of them.
Yeah, this is a very weird ending to the series. This is a good engagement for these Ultras, but like I said, they don't have the upgrades they need. There are a couple of Queens there, so this is like as good as it will ever get for IA. But I'm not even sure if it's going to be enough.
No, he's continuing to focus down, and like Ultras do an insane amount of damage. The transfuses from the Queens are pretty real. A couple of these Ultras with very low health weren't being targeted at the start of these fights, so he kills the army off.
Yeah.
But ShoWTime has a bank, and he has a fully saturated mining base on the left side with Templar there.
Exactly.
And an Immortal.
Like, ShoWTime has 3,500 minerals in the bank.
And there's a Warp Prism over IA's only base that has resources at it now. And there's a DET being warped in.
Yep. And there is no layer anymore, so there is no detection.
You can't make any more Overseers.
Nope. So a couple Stalkers did get away. These Ultras are going to try to save this base, but without... Oh, there's one Overseer,
There's one of the 2 Overseers on the map. Okay, he brings the other one over as well.
Stalkers!
Oh, he goes for the hot pickup.
Yeah.
And then the 41 Hydras are like, sup? It's like, oh, well, not too many of them left now. Just 15.
I mean, like, this game looks close, but I can't really...
Hydralisk Ultra.
I can't
with
imagine
Storm and Immortals being made, is there anything else you need to fight against this? I'm mostly surprised that ShoWTime hasn't saturated the gases on his left base because he's got 3k minerals.
Yeah, imagine the amount of cannons he have. Like, ShoWTime, you could have like 10 cannons over here, and all you have to do is just rely on this base. He's not been mining any gas of this. With only Zealots, he could theoretically lose against his army. And I'd be so shocked. If ShoWTime loses this game, that is like one of the throws of the century.
Yeah, he actually loses quite a few of his probes just mineral walking them out of that base. Actually, half
I'm
of
actually
the
starting to get worried now for ShoWTime, Nate. Actually, his army is still pretty reasonable. He has Immortals.
Immortal Archon Shreks, Ultralisks, and then all he needs to do is just make sure he places his storms properly.
Still, losing that base is like, ouch.
He's trying to make it a little closer.
Yeah, he's making it exciting. We don't have to bring the fake caster hype. It's actually real.
We're actually not 100% sure on this one. A bunch of changes are going to get a move in and help IA confirm, do I want to walk into my death just yet? Answer seems to be a maybe for now.
Imagine if these Ultras would have had an armor upgrade for this. I mean, like, the upgrades from this Protoss army are still superior.
I mean, if the
as
Ultralisks had... did he ever get chitinous plating? No. He did have the Ling. He had adrenal glands, but Lings aren't really a part of his army anymore. That DT, once again, slashing away at the gold base.
He has an Overseer trying to save it. Come on, drones.
Ultras are so slow. Save the day.
He'll be fine. All right. Saves the base for now. Of course, for ShoWTime, like, I think ShoWTime has been very worried all game about the Mutalisk switch. He even got like Phoenix range. He has 2 Stargates, and he never had to make any of them because like IA was never even. Oh, a Swarmos. Hey, that's actually the Swarmos are so good against this army, by the way, of ShoWTime. His army consists of.
Only he could afford more than 1 Swarmos, Roddy.
Hey, Swarmos are pretty good. I've read on the BattleNet forums, Nate.
Are they that good?
Yes. Yeah.
Well.
Hey, we do have charge, right? Yeah, okay, charge is ready. I mean, Zealots are pretty bad against Ultras, even though these Zealots have much better upgrades, so maybe they're not all that bad.
Without the armor upgrades, I actually feel like these Zealots could still do a lot. Like,
You're right, especially in
it's
these
like you
numbers
talk about.
as
It's like, well, Ultras are really good versus Marines, but if there's no armor upgrades, then the Marines still destroy them as fast as buildings.
And we're looking at a Templar army that actually has 6 Storms to work with. So yeah, 6 Storms should be more than enough to deal with a couple of these Hydras as well. ShoWTime made it a little closer at a certain point than I think it should have been. But I think in the end, this should still be a Protoss army that's a lot stronger than its Zerg's counterpart.
Well played, Storms over the Hydras, killing everything, and 5 Immortals in the back with these Archons will annihilate this army. GG, ShoWTime takes the 2-1 and will advance on to play against Maro in the winners match.
Yeah, an all-European upper bracket match over here in WCS Group G.
Wow.
This was a very interesting series, Nate. This was not the type of series I expected at all with the builds that ShoWTime went for in game number 1 and game number 2. And I think even ShoWTime was very confused about what exactly was going on in game number 3. But in the end, he was able to sing it out. Definitely made a couple of good decisions early on when he moved out with the Stalkers, with the Colossus, denied bases. He was very worried about the meter switch. Like I said, you know, he had 2 Stargates, had the Fleet Beacon, had Phoenix range. He had all those things.
He had absolutely everything. He was like prepared for it all.
Yeah, no,
he's like Protoss survival kit for late game PvZ. I'm ready for whatever comes my way.
You know, I've got the cannons. You know, I got Storm, I got Colossus, I got Blink Stalkers, I got upgrades. You know, I got the Stargates. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but whatever it is, I should be good with it. And he was, and I think IA was just, he was too indecisive in that final game. Like he could have definitely pushed the issue quite hard with Hydras.
And I feel like he could have taken a few really good engagements if he had gotten the speed upgrade faster too. Like there were just some opportunities to try to flank that army that never opened up.
Yeah, like we were joking about it, but that was obviously a mistake. Nobody makes 41 Hydra lists before getting Hydra speed. Like nobody, you maybe make 5 before you make Hydra speed, but not 41. And like Hydras is a very situational unit when it comes to ZVP. And there are definitely some moments when they're awesome. A lot of Zerg players will say like, no, they're never awesome. But there are definitely some moments where Hydras are still good in this matchup. But you definitely need to use them on those moments. And you can give a Zerg time to get all the upgrades in the world, to get Colossus and Storm, and then suddenly like try to take a fight with your Hydras. Like no matter how beautiful your concave may be, that's just not the time anymore for Hydras to shine.
No, makes it very difficult. So IA is going to drop to play in the lower bracket match next, I believe, against Hydra for perhaps one of the more difficult ZVZs he'll ever have had to play. And we got the European upper bracket match, like you just said, and I'm interested how many people might have expected that to happen between ShoWTime and Maro. Some nice TVP.
Yep. For now, we're going to head over to Sue, who I believe is on the couch, and after that, we'll be back with our lower bracket match first. So here you go, Sue. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Rotterdam. It seems the power of the EPS title was too much for our Chinese Zerg IA, and with that match result, our next 2 matches are set. The winner's match will be Maro versus ShoWTime, while the lower bracket match will be Hydra versus IA. Let us know what you guys think of all the action that's happened so far today. Hashtag WCS on Twitter and Facebook. Make sure to show some love for our sponsors as well, and Gigabyte and BenQ for making all of this possible this weekend. We are going to head to a short commercial break, but when we come back, we'll see if Hydra can recover from a surprisingly rough start to the day, or if IA will be able to continue his Premier League run. Stay tuned.